Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today is another video. However, this one is a voiceover. Now, in my past videos, I mentioned that I stopped cash budgeting for 60 days, 2 months, and I wanted to talk about it while I rearrange my binders. So let's get to it. So, how does someone who makes videos about finances end up with a negative $200 bank balance? Well, like I mentioned, for the last 60 days, I completely stopped budgeting. I stopped cash stuffing, and I stopped being smart with my money. I didn't just fall off the wagon, I watched the wagon drive away while I stood there exhausted. So, today I will be showing you, well, let's be honest, more like telling you the messy, uncurated reality of what happens when you lose your routine and the deep internal shift that happens when the numbers finally catch up to you. It was a wide awakening. Now, in this video, I am taking you through my journey in March and April. And I want to show you exactly why I budget and why, for me, having a plan isn't just a choice, it's a mental health necessity, especially, while I try to have financial stability and build that financial wealth. Now, we all fall out of our habits. It's, reasonable, it's understandable, but sometimes falling out of those habits is a symptom of something much deeper. If I'm being honest, the spiral didn't really start in March. It started back in November. Now, work in 2026 has been a lot. I think I mentioned it in some of my videos, but we ideally started with 6 agents at the office, and suddenly we were just down to 4. Now, if you live in Canada, you know that things has been happening globally. Tariffs, taxes, gas prices, and in the travel industry, things were not slowing down either. Now, we had lost a few agents the year prior, so November to December. So losing 2 agents was unbelievably hard because we not only had to manage our files, but we also had to manage their files. And between everything that was happening in the world, it just felt heavy. So between the travel chaos in Mexico, the strike here in Canada, and the constant talk of wars, everybody was stressed. Nobody wanted to travel. Everybody was trying to get that refund. And when your job is to give people answers and safety regarding destination choices, and you don't have those answers yourself, it drains you. So my routine became work, stress, sleep, repeat. Work, stress, sleep, repeat. Should I say it one more time, or I think we got it? Maybe one more time. Work, stress, sleep, repeat. I didn't have the mental capacity to sit down and face my budget. I mean, I saw the price going up for gas, for food, and everything, and I heard a lot of my friends and family complain about it, but I didn't want to rearrange the numbers because rearranging the numbers meant admitting that my reality was changing. And I was already at survival mode at work, and in that survival mode, the first thing that went through the door was discipline. And it is currently something that I'm working on, but at the time that was literally the only option that I had. So I think my biggest coping mechanism was telling myself a lie, which was, it's just for another week. This is just a temporary busy patch. I kept making those excuses for the situation instead of prioritizing reality, and I paid the price for it, literally. My gas bill went from $50 a week to $150. And that was more than $400 a month. Difference that I wasn't accounting for. Now, because I wasn't tracking that money, it was being stolen from my other bills. Therefore, I could not even pay, my at 30 or my I Love Big Bucks challenge, as you may all know on this channel. And I just kept overspending just to keep the car moving and kept myself fed. Now, when you're working 10 to 12 hours, even if I brought lunch to work, you know, I still needed that extra coffee or that extra motivation, especially after you get yelled at, screamed at, you know, people are not getting the refund, you know, it's a whole thing. So, those small needs ideally ended up becoming like expenses, like bills. And I just it didn't fit my budget. Ooh, look at these colors. Aren't they nice? I think I'm up to 6 binders now. Anyways, sorry, got sidetracked. But while all of this was happening, I also hit a low point mentally. Now, you know that feeling when you reflect on where you are versus where you thought you'd be at this age? What you look at, you know, you look at your others, you look at what others have and then you think, what am I missing? Like, what do I need to do? Give me the answers. Yeah, that was me. And what I realized is that when you're in that deep negative spiral, you only see red, or at least for me. And when you only see the numbers go down and the prices go up, you know, people will tell you, Emmeline, the life you're living right now is someone else's dream. And while that may be true, and it feeds the ego for maybe a slight second, it doesn't really fix that overwhelmingly, well, not overwhelmingly, but it doesn't really fix that feeling of content with where you're at currently. And that was a really hard pill to swallow. And it just felt like everything that I was doing wasn't enough. I felt like I was failing at the very thing that I was supposed to be good at. You know, when you become like the financial person in your friend group, in your family, basically everywhere else in my life, not being able to manage my finances, be like, okay, why should they listen to my advice and stuff? So that was pretty, you know, maybe I was a little bit too hard on myself, but ideally that's what I was feeling at the time. And, you know, it was hard to be the finance girl when you're like drowning in the deep end of your own bank account. And then what also didn't help me was the tap. I mean, those tappity tap ATMs, or, you know, expenses where you just go up to the store, you just tap your card. You know, in the I was ideally acting like, you know, those K-dramas where the CEO walks in and acts like their card has no limit. Yeah, that was me. I was tapping that card like a girl with a secret inheritance that just apparently didn't have a maximum. I didn't look up prices, but, you know, I was just like, you know, I'll fix it when I get home. I'll fix it when, you know, I get off work. I'll fix it in my next paycheck. And that just never came. And then 3 days before my trip, I looked at my account, negative 200. Now, it could have been worse, I will admit, but I think the feeling that I just keep unremembering that I felt at that time was embarrassment. And it was a low blow, because the craziest part was back in November, I had called my bank and I tell them that I would be traveling in April. And it's something that I do just so when I get there, they don't block my card like they usually do. And the lady that I was speaking to, very nice lady, she was very excited to tell me, oh my gosh, you qualified for, you know, an overdraft protection on your bank account, meaning that I would be eligible to go in negatives and not have to pay significantly amount, you know, a non-sufficient fee in my account. And I was just like, no thanks, I don't need it. I'm pretty good financially right now. You know, I have a good grasp on my budget, whatever. And then, you know, and I remember her telling me, or she said something along the lines of, well, you know, you never know. If you don't need it, you don't have to use it. But if you do need it, it's there. And she didn't really say it, but she just kind of said, you know, it's always there if you need it. And, you know, I was just like, okay, that's it. And she was pretty, you know, she insisted, like, you know, girl, you're gonna need this. So then I find myself in a negative account. I was embarrassed. But then I'm like, thank God she did. Maybe she knew something was coming and I didn't. Because sitting at that negative $200, clearly I cannot be trusted with a plan. And I need to go back to being the cash girl. So cash stuffing every single dollar. I need to feel the money leave my hand. But I think the positive in all of this, if I'm being honest, is that even though I was tapping blindly, I wasn't splurging on just anything. I wasn't just buying things just to buy. I was actually buying the necessities, things for food, gas, like things to actually get me to work, for health items, and it really helps me because I'm able to say that my brain has finally changed in terms of how I view my finances, and I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable now spending money. I don't just, I go to the store and I'll be window shopping and I feel like I want to buy everything in the store. I think I was more like, okay, do I really need this? Should I really buy that? Is it really going to change my life? Or like, maybe I'll, walk around one more lap around the mall and then see if I, really needed this. So that was, I believe, a great takeaway. But I do want to know, like, if you guys have ever gone through a similar situation, or like what you guys do. Did you guys just, try to fix it with the next paycheck, or did you guys, had to sit down and really look at those numbers and reflect and be like, oh, hey, like, this happened, and, it needed to happen, because that's something that I realized too. It's like, yes, it happened, and I honestly made a promise to myself that it would never happen again. But then I realized that, you know what? As much as I would never want to be in that position again, to, open my bank account and see a negative amount, I also was glad it did happen, because I don't think I would have ever seen my progress or my relationship with money if that didn't go. Because I can guarantee you, my expense list before I started cash budgeting and my expense list of, like, my, that I can't seem to remember the word right now. When you go into your bank statement and you see like everything you bought within a period of time, that. So that list, while I was basically through this entire change, looked different. And it wasn't, it wasn't like a lot of like unnecessary things. It was just things that I needed. And I don't know. I think that made me happy. And I guess I wanted to make this video to have a reminder myself that, it's okay to fall out of your routine. It's okay to see red sometimes, and sometimes it's just a matter of taking a breath. The pause wasn't a failure. At least that's what I'm telling myself. It was a lesson. And now that I'm going back to cash stuffing, I really want to emphasize, the importance of it. Like, why am I doing it? Because I think my mom asked me, it's like, Emmeline, like, why are you doing all of this? Like, why is this necessary? And I was just like, because I want to be able to control where my money goes. Which is at a point, yes, it's true. But I feel like now I have like a purpose on why I do this. I do this because it creates a routine that not only benefits myself currently, but it also benefits my future self. And I wanted to take a pause because I actually had other things that I bought for my new system, and these are some new additions from Comfort Coins, Mikki. I'll have her description in the description. I'll have her details in the description below. And ideally, I got a few new small denominations for just simple envelopes, something that's very low, so I can build back up those emergency funds, because my at 5% is basically all gone now, and I needed another $10,000 because I want to start putting money away from my student loans, put that in a FHSA, and then maybe every year just kind of put money here and there on it. So that was something that I wanted to get done. So that was pretty nice. But going back into the things, yeah, do let me know if you guys ever felt like or you ever been in that situation. Like, what did you guys do? Let me know in the comments below. And I really want to see, like, what was the takeaway for it? Was it like a positive outcome, a negative outcome? Let's talk about this in the chat below. But thank you for hearing me rant about past mistakes, lessons learned, and everything in between. This was actually kind of therapeutic. I'm not gonna lie. Just, you know, me, myself, and I. Yeah, I do hope to do more of these kind of sit down talk videos. Hopefully, not about the same subject, but I do the same thing. But yes, do let me know in the comments below so we can all support each other. Oh, just to talk about the video a little bit. Now, this binder revamp didn't take me 3 hours like the last one did, but I can tell you that I did change my mind quite a lot. And I think I realized after this, I probably need like maybe 3 more binders in order to complete my like my whole setup. Now, I'll probably need more than that, but like ideally, I decided to kind of just do a list of everything that was in each binder because I plan on kind of revamping the way I do my cash budgeting videos. And I was quite surprised at all the categories that I ended up having just at the end of everything. But like I said, everything ended up, you know, it has a purpose. There's a reason I'm doing this. And I'm really liking the result, the categories that I decided to focus on. It's still a lot. I believe it was more than 50. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I have a lot of categories. But I will say most of them was like travel and stuff. You know, being a travel agent, it's kind of part of the deal. But yeah, I was very happy with the turnout, with the layout. I will have a video kind of going over my binders and kind of talking about what they mean and their new roles within my system. And yeah, I'm excited about where that's gonna take. But I think that's it for this video. Sorry I didn't talk too much about it, but I know I will be making another video, so I didn't want to go too much in depth. I hope you like this video. I think this video has 2 outros, but I hope you like this videos. Probably might cut the other one out, actually. I'm all over the place. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Cue the music.